Every year, thousands of people immigrate to the state of Israel, and while it can be very exciting, it's not always an easy process. A third of all suicides in Israel are committed by Olim Chadashim, or new immigrants. And joining us now with more details is Liami Lawrence, the co-founder and CEO of the organization Keep Olim, and Dr. Camila Folkosh-Lavan, a psychologist that works with the NGO. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so first of all, briefly tell us a little bit about what Keep Olim is.
Sure. So Keep Olim is a nonprofit for all Olim. Basic mission is to keep Olim, simply, because we saw too many people leave. And what do Olim need? They need better support, more programs, mental health.
So these are kind of basic things that would really just change the general experience of a new immigrant here. Now, what made you create this organization? And I understand that suicide is kind of a major reason.
So let me explain to you. I was here for 9 months. I moved here from Beverly Hills. And after 9 months, I had no job, no money, no food, nothing. And I was sick. Neighbors and friends were bringing me food. And so I went to Facebook to say that I was leaving. My friend Tal told me, go to Facebook, make a group, create a group. In 48 hours, we had something like 3,000 people join the group, bitching and complaining in 10 different languages. It was insane. And then we realized my partner in Keep Olim, Svika Greiver, my co-founder, approached me and said, hey, I'm a lawyer. Why don't we actually make a Amutah, a nonprofit, to actually help Olim instead of just bitching about it? So that's exactly what we did.
So I know I myself, as a new immigrant, am in a lot of these Facebook groups because I just need help to do simple things that, in my home country might be a little bit easier, but here it's more difficult because of language. There are a lot of different factors. I mean, why are we seeing such high rates of Olim Chadashim committing suicide? What are the risk factors?
So in general, before a person gets to suicidal thoughts or actually committing suicide, there are many steps. There's a process, yes? But when a person is in a new environment, often without the language, new culture, the support system isn't there, maybe the family is very far away, everything is heightened, okay? So there's adjustment difficulties. Stress is very, very high, sometimes to the point where it could be a diagnosable condition. And one of the problems is that there isn't enough awareness. There aren't enough professionals that speak the language of the person wherever it is that they're coming from. They're not really understood. So even if they will go, first of all, a lot of people won't reach out because it's something that people feel uncomfortable with or embarrassed, or they think that they will deal with it by themselves. There's stigma against mental health sometimes, so it stops people from reaching out. But even if, let's say, they do reach out, a lot of times they're not understood. So it only adds to frustration, and it adds to the anxieties and difficulties and feeling low and feeling sad and without any assistance, really.
And this is obviously something that is just specific to the immigrant experience, no matter what country you're in, whether
No,
or not
no matter
it's
what
Israel.
country you're from. It's, listen, to learn a new language, to come to a new culture, to start with no family, no friends, is very hard.
There are so many stressors that people go through, like even to go to a bank, and how do you fill out a check?
Oh, absolutely. So, what is different here in Israel is the fact that you do have perhaps more agencies that are involved in helping the immigrant experience be easier, but of course that's not always enough. What kind of support do you guys believe needs to be offered to new immigrants that they don't have right now?
So right now, Keep Olim, one of the cornerstones of Keep Olim is mental health. We've had 12 overdoses and suicides in our group. Our organization is less than 4 years old. And people call us. Last year, I fielded 70 distressed Olim calls. We put some of them in hospitals. We deal with their families. We get them therapists. This is one of the therapists that we get them, Dr. Forecast. We have, this past year so far, the one now, we're a few months into the year, already more than 35 distressed calls came to Keep Olim. We have a mental health program under the leadership of Dr. Robert Lubin, who deals with all the therapists. We have 80 therapists that have registered for Keep Olim. We started support groups last month in your native language, because you call Iran the suicide hotline of Israel, they only talk Arabic and Hebrew. There's no services for Olim. So Olim are turning to us.
And I would imagine that, a big issue here is just the taboo around talking about these mental health issues, that, immigrating to Israel isn't as beautiful and colorful as one might have expected it to be. Just feel uncomfortable enough to talk about that, right?
A lot of people feel stigmatized to go to therapy. And Israel's a little bit backwards in this thinking, because I come from LA and everybody has a therapist. And you say, hey, what'd you do today? Oh, I went to my therapist and we went out to the gym.
Here in Israel, they're like, rub some dirt in it, you'll be fine, right?
So there's a stigma against seeking help, and especially for lone soldiers in the army, because they have no one to turn to. They're in a tough position, because we get calls all the time from distressed soldiers in the battlefield, and they cannot tell their commanders, because they feel that the profile will get lowered, the gun will get taken away, and they'll be either at a desk job or released from the army. And we have a lot
so there's a whole nother array of issues within this. Well, I guess the final question that I have, and we have to wrap this up, unfortunately, would be just, what is your hope for the future? Maybe, Camila, you could kind of give us some insight.
I would love to see that some of the programs that we're working on with Keep Olim really do go forward, and we have the funding to put them together. There's still a stigma, and there's still a lack of understanding in public in general, but specifically for people that come from different cultures, to have the awareness of the culture, of the needs, of the stressor points. Maybe to have some programs where people can visit their families. Maybe lone soldiers that come here are attached to a certain family, that they would be able to go home on the weekend and provide that love.
Support.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for coming in and talking to us about this extremely important issue. There does need to be more awareness, and hopefully this interview is going to get that awareness out there.
Thank you so much.
Amen. Thank you.